Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're really zeroing in on something a lot of you indie fiction authors grapple with, making Amazon book ads. Well, work. I saw this Reddit post. The title was something like, 6 months I realized that Amazon ads in fiction books cannot work. And, that really resonated.
Yeah, that feeling.
That feeling of just watching your ad spend, evaporate with hardly any sales. We're going deep today to figure out how to maybe flip that script.
Exactly, that frustration. It's pretty common, and it's really what sparked this whole deep dive.
Right.
We've looked at that Reddit chat, advice from, marketing pros on their blogs, even some of Amazon's own stuff about their ads.
So mission is?
The mission is clear. Get past the this just doesn't work feeling and actually give you some strategies, things you can do to make Amazon ads effective for your fiction.
Okay, let's just jump right into the big one. This idea that Amazon ads just don't cut it for fiction. That Reddit thread, it was full of authors, basically ready to give up. Struggling to get seen, struggling even more to get sales. So can these ads really work for selling stories?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? And the fact that experiences are so different really tells you something.
Yeah.
Some authors feel like they're just throwing money away. But then, like when Redditor mentioned, Robert Trine 100, some people are seeing real success with fiction ads on Amazon.
So it's not impossible, just complicated.
Exactly. It's not a universal failure. It's more about really understanding how it works and how to implement it properly.
Right. Clearly not just flipping a switch. Another commenter, Joran, talked about the learning curve being steep, needing to get how Amazon's algorithms think.
Totally. It's not set and forget. Not at all.
So you got to put the work in.
Think of it like, learning any new skill, really.
Yeah.
Zan Winter in that thread put it pretty bluntly. Amazon wants to promote books that are already selling.
Makes sense from their perspective.
Yeah, their system rewards performance. But, and this is important, another user, Monpressive, raised a good point. It can be harder if your book doesn't slot neatly into, a super popular genre or hit obvious keywords.
Ah, okay. So niche books might face more of a challenge there.
Right. It's not like Amazon is deliberately hiding specific keywords, but the system naturally favors what's already proving popular. So if your fiction is niche, you've got to be even smarter with your initial keyword choices.
That helps clarify things. Now, something else that kept coming up was how many books you actually have published. Several authors in that thread, author Brendan Corbett, John Wilker, author Matt Azanich, they all strongly felt that ads work way better if you have a series.
Oh, definitely. This is like cornerstone advice in fiction marketing. You hear it from the big names in author marketing too, Dave Chesson, David Garin, Matthew J. Holmes, they were all mentioned there.
And it comes down to this idea of read-through, right?
Exactly. Read-through is absolutely key.
Okay, explain that. Why is read-through so critical for making ads pay off?
Okay, so imagine you spend, let's say, $7 on ads to get one person to buy book one in your series.
Right.
And maybe you only make $2 profit on that first sale. That's okay, not amazing. But the real win comes if that reader loves book one and then goes on to buy book two, book three.
Ah, the follow-on sales.
Precisely. Author Brendan Corbett threw out some numbers. Maybe those next few books bring in another $10. Suddenly, that initial $7 ad spend looks a lot better, doesn't it?
Yeah, it completely changes the math.
It transforms your ad spend from getting one sale to potentially getting multiple sales from that single click. It's like author Matt Azanich said, nothing sells your current book better than your next book.
That really drives it home. So, okay, for listeners maybe with just one book published right now, what's the play with Amazon ads?
Well, Dragon Sandvamps on Reddit had some sensible advice. Maybe focus more energy on writing the next book before going all in on ads.
Build the series first.
Yeah, or at least get started on it. You could maybe run some low-budget ad experiments like Robert Trine 100 suggested, just to learn the ropes while you're writing.
Get familiar with the system.
Right, because having more books just creates more chances for that read-through to happen, which makes your future ads much more likely to be profitable. Each book is another doorway into your world,
Okay, building the catalog is a big piece. But let's say you do have a series, or you're determined to push your standalone. You're running ads, getting clicks, but no sales. What's going wrong then? Keith Nixon on Reddit mentioned this.
Yes, good point. Keith Nixon nailed it. The ad's job is just to bring the right person to your books page on Amazon.
That's it. The ad's job is done once they click.
Pretty much. Once they land on your product page, it's over to the page itself to close the deal. The conversion, turning that click into a sale, relies entirely on, your book's presentation.
Meaning the cover, The description?
Exactly. The cover, the blurb, the reviews, the social proof. Like NakeWriter99 pointed out, if clicks aren't converting, chances are the issue is with the product page itself.
So you need to look critically at those elements.
Definitely. Is the cover professional? Does it fit the genre? Is the blurb compelling? Does it hook the reader? Do you have enough reviews to make people feel comfortable buying? These things are huge. You gotta sort these before stressing too much about complex ad settings.
That's such a fundamental point. You could have the best ad targeting in the world, but if the destination, the book page, isn't convincing, it's all for nothing.
Precisely. Wasted clicks, wasted money.
Okay, so let's assume the product page is looking sharp. Now we dive into the actual Amazon ad strategies. Where do we start with targeting? Keyword research feels like ground zero, right? Penny Sansevieri, Matt Holmes, they mentioned it.
Absolutely. Good keyword research is like the foundation. Amazon's whole system runs on matching ads to relevant searches.
Excess.
And Penny Sansevieri really stressed that using irrelevant keywords just burns through your budget and gives you junk results.
So no more just dumping in 500 random words.
Yeah, that old tactic, not so effective anymore. Matt Holmes, who's done a lot of work in this area, suggests focusing way down. Think maybe 10 to 30 highly relevant keywords for each campaign.
10 to 30. That sounds much more manageable. How do we find those gems? Matt Holmes mentioned Publisher Rocket, Dave Chesson's tool.
Right. Tools like Publisher Rocket are great. They give you actual data, what people search for, how much competition there is. Super helpful.
But you can do it without tools, too.
Oh, for sure. You start by just thinking like your reader. What words would they actually type into Amazon to find a book like yours?
Right.
Matt Holmes talks about thinking of like 10, 15 keywords that are directly relevant to your core concepts, then maybe another 10, 15 that are a bit broader but still capture your audience.
And Amazon's own guides suggest.
They recommend a mix, broad genre terms, specific subgenres, maybe names of similar authors, themes from your book, even ASNs, the specific product codes of books you compete with.
Okay, so we've got our focused list of keywords. Now, how do we control how Amazon uses them? That's where these match types come in, broad, phrase, exact.
Exactly. These match types are crucial. They basically tell Amazon how strictly it should match a customer's search term to your keyword before showing your ad.
Gotcha.
Amazon's own guide and Matt Holmes both lay it out pretty clearly. Broad match is, well, the broadest net. Your ad might show if the search term includes your keywords in any order, maybe with other words, plus variations like plurals.
Give me an example.
Okay. Say your keyword is space opera. A broad match might show your ad if someone searches for epic science fiction adventure in space. See, it contains the idea.
Wide reach, but maybe not super targeted. What about the others? Phrase and exact.
Right. Phrase match tightens it up. The search term has to contain your exact keyword phrase in the right order, but it can have words before or after it. So if your keyword is historical fiction London, a phrase match could trigger for best historical fiction London 1800s. The core phrase is there. In order.
Okay, and exact match.
Exact match is the most specific. The search has to match your keyword pretty much perfectly, same words, same order, maybe allows for plurals. So, Victorian mystery novel, exact match. It's basically only showing for that exact search.
So different tools for different jobs. How do we use them strategically? Matt Holmes suggests separate campaigns for automatic, broad, and exact match.
Yeah, and that structure makes a lot of sense. It gives you much better control and way clearer data on what's actually working.
How so?
Well, your exact match campaign is for your slam dunk keywords, right? The ones you're pretty sure are highly relevant and likely to convert. You're hitting people searching for exactly your thing.
Okay.
Your broad match campaign, that's more for discovery. You use broader terms and you watch the search term reports to see what searches actually trigger clicks and sales. You might find new keyword ideas there.
And automatic.
And automatic targeting is where you let Amazon do the work initially. Its algorithm looks at your book page and tries to find relevant places to show your ad.
Automatic sounds like a good place to start if you're new to this.
It often is. Amazon even recommends it, especially for sponsored products. Let it run for maybe a couple of weeks, see what search terms it finds for you, then build out your manual campaigns.
And automatic has its own settings, too.
Yeah, Matt Holmes breaks it down. It has groups like close match, loose match, substitutes which target similar books, and complements targeting related but not rival books. He suggests starting bids just a bit above the minimum suggestion for each, and then watching closely.
Okay, campaign structured, match types understood. Let's talk bidding. Penny Sansevieri warned about bidding too low, right? Saying you might not get shown.
That's a really critical point. It's tempting to lowball bids to save cash, but if you go too low, your ads just won't get impressions. Competitors bidding higher will win the auction.
So you need to be realistic.
Exactly. Penny Sansevieri says, pay attention to Amazon's suggested bid range. Don't try to undercut it massively. And Matt Holmes adds an interesting point about the daily budget.
Yeah.
He suggests setting a decent daily budget, maybe like $30, $50 initially. Not because you'll spend it all right away, but to signal to Amazon you're serious. It can apparently influence how often they show your ads.
Huh. Interesting psychology there. What about the actual cost per click bid for each keyword?
Matt Holmes gives a general range, maybe $0.40 to 70 cents to start, but stresses it really depends on your genre's competition and, crucially, your read-through potential if you have a series.
Right, because you can afford to bid higher if you expect follow-on sales.
Precisely.
Hmm.
He also has this quirky tip. Try slightly unusual bid amounts like $0.67 instead of 65 cents.
Why?
His theory is lots of people bid in nickel increments, so bidding just slightly off might give you an edge in some options. Worth a try, maybe.
Could be. Incredible Inc. suggested maybe starting lower and inching bids up.
Yeah, that's another approach. Start conservative, watch the data, and increase bids on keywords that show promise. Different ways to skin the cat, you know?
We've talked a lot about what to target, but Penny Sansevieri also mentioned negative keywords. What's their role?
Negative keywords are super important for efficiency. They stop your ad from showing up for irrelevant searches. Penny Sansevieri called it narrowing the lane.
Makes sense. You don't want clicks from people looking for something totally different.
Exactly. It wastes money and drags down your conversion rate. Negative keywords tell Amazon, don't show my ad if someone searches for this term.
How do you add them?
You can do it when you set up the campaign or add them later in the ad console as you see irrelevant search terms popping up in your reports. Amazon's guide mentions you can also do negative product targeting, blocking your ad from showing on specific book pages or in certain categories.
Can you give an example, like for a historical romance author?
Sure. If you write Regency romance, you might add negative keywords like contemporary, sci-fi, yay, or maybe author names from totally different genres. For negative products, maybe you exclude free books if yours isn't free, or books in genres like thrillers that just don't align.
So you're cleaning up the targeting.
Yep. Amazon suggests adding keywords that perform poorly, general shopping terms, ANs that don't convert, anything that's clearly not a good fit. And Matt Holmes points out there are negative exact and negative phrase match types too, giving you control over how you exclude terms.
So it's this constant refinement process, telling Amazon who not to show the ad to, as well as who to show it to.
Exactly. It's about precision.
Okay, we've hit keywords, bids, negatives. Are there other targeting methods besides keywords?
Yeah, besides automatic targeting, manual targeting includes both keywords, which we've covered, and product targeting.
Product targeting.
That lets you specifically target individual books by their ASIN, entire categories, or even brands. So instead of just catching searchers, your ad can appear directly on a competitor's book page or on pages of books in your specific subgenre.
Ah, okay. So you can get really specific there too.
Definitely. And Amazon's guide says product targeting uses those same match concepts we saw in automatic close match, loose match, substitutes, complements to define how related the targeted product needs to be.
Wow. Okay. This sounds like a lot to keep track of. Is it something you could just set up and walk away from?
Oh, definitely not. That's a common mistake. Both Matt Holmes and Credible Inc. hammer this home. Amazon ads need ongoing attention, monitoring, optimization.
How ongoing?
Regularly. You need to check your reports, see what's working, what isn't, and make changes. Credible Inc. actually suggests giving things at least 60 days before making huge tweaks to let the algorithm learn.
And the key report is the search term report.
That's a vital one, yeah. Matt Holmes goes into detail on analyzing it. It shows you the exact search terms people typed that triggered your ad.
So you can see what's really driving clicks.
Exactly. You identify winning keywords to maybe bid higher on, find terms that aren't relevant to add as negatives, spot high-performing competitor ASINs you might want to target more aggressively. You track impressions, clicks, cost per click, and most importantly, orders.
And you need to look at trends over time.
Absolutely. Matt Holmes suggests waiting maybe 2-4 weeks to get enough data to see real patterns. Don't react to every tiny daily fluctuation. And Credible Inc. also recommends A/B testing your ad copy, trying different headlines or descriptions to see what gets better results.
Okay, let's circle back to some of those initial frustrations. The Reddit poster felt Amazon just wasn't showing ads for their specific long-tail keywords. What's likely going on there?
It's a common frustration. While Amazon does prioritize relevance in popular searches, the simple truth might be that very few people are actually searching for those super specific long tail phrases.
So it's not malice, just
Mhm.
low search volume.
Often, yeah. As bots is what mentioned in the thread, your keywords need to match what real users are actually searching for. If nobody's typing that exact niche phrase into Amazon, your ad for it won't get shown no matter how relevant you think it is. You gotta think like the searcher.
What about the cost? That feeling that it's just too expensive, especially if sales aren't immediate.
Cost is definitely a real factor. Penny Sanseviery's advice is key here. Have a clear budget. Use budget caps. Bid smartly. Don't just throw money around.
Treat it as an investment.
Exactly, an investment that needs managing. Strategic bidding, constant refinement of targeting to cut out wasted spend, that's how you control costs and work towards profitability.
And the complexity. It just feels overwhelming for authors who just want to write books.
It really can be. Apocalypsegal on Reddit made a good point. Nobody becomes an Amazon ads expert overnight. It's a skill.
Takes time.
It takes time, learning, trying things out, making adjustments. Start with the basics, don't try to do everything at once, and build your knowledge gradually.
And finally, that money sink feeling for fiction ads. How do we combat that perception?
By being strategic, right. If you just gamble, tossing money at random keywords, yeah, it'll feel like a money sink because it probably is.
But if you apply these strategies,
But if you do the research, understand match types, structure campaigns logically, use negatives, monitor, optimize based on data, your odds of getting a positive return go way, way up.
what about reviews? Some say you need loads, others find success without many.
Yeah, that came up. Look, more positive reviews definitely help convert clicks into sales, no doubt. But some people, like Few Squirrel 3825 on Reddit, found success even with fewer reviews. Sometimes the sales you get from ads can actually help you get more reviews. It can be a cycle.
Okay, so Amazon ads aren't the only game in town, are they? The Reddit thread mentioned alternatives.
That's right. Facebook or Meta ads came up quite a bit. A key difference there, as Monpressive noted, is targeting. On Facebook, you can target based on interests, demographics, behaviors, not just keywords.
Which might be better for some fiction.
Potentially, yeah. Especially for niche genres where finding the right keyword is tricky. Facebook lets you target readers who like specific authors, genres, even related hobbies. It's a different approach.
Any others mentioned?
Book Talk, TikTok, gotta mention, that's definitely a growing area, but it requires a different skill set, you know?
Yeah.
Building a following, creating video content, maybe working with influencers. It's more about community building.
And the old standby.
And yeah, NikeWriter99 made the crucial reminder, don't forget your email list. Building and talking to your own list is still fundamental, always.
This has been incredibly useful, really breaking down Amazon ads for fiction. So if we had to boil it down, what are the absolute must-do strategic takeaways for authors?
I think the main thing is the mindset shift. See it as a tool that needs learning, not a magic button or a broken machine. Build that foundation first, ideally a series, definitely a great product page. Then get strategic with the ads themselves, meaning do your homework on keywords and products. Understand match types. Structure your campaigns thoughtfully. Use negative keywords ruthlessly to cut waste. And crucially, commit to checking the data and tweaking things. It's an ongoing process.
Okay, so for everyone listening right now, here's a thought. What's the one thing in your own Amazon ads strategy, or maybe your lack of one, that feels like the biggest roadblock after hearing all this?
Good question.
Is it your keywords,
Yeah.
your bids? Maybe you haven't looked hard enough at your book's actual page. What's one small thing, one actionable step you could take today, based on what we've talked about, to start moving the needle? Maybe explore some of those resources, keep learning from other authors. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.